I'm so sorry that it's been so long. Shortly after New York Comic Con, I got a really bad cold. And no, I didn't get it from anyone at the convention. It was actually a family member that gave me a cold. And I have been sick since the pandemic started. And, usually when we get sick every year, we, kind of adopt to it. And what happens is that when you don't get sick for a long period of time, 2 years is a long time. In that moment that you do get sick, it comes at you 10 times worse. It's horrible. Thank God it wasn't COVID. I never had it before, thank God. But it gave me a really bad after cough that, I'm still dealing with at this moment. And my voice sounded completely like shit, so doing any videos at that point was not an option. And trust me that I've tried, but I just ended up coughing so fucking bad. It was just horrible. And I'm so sorry, especially to my fan supporters. And next week I do have an update on Spider-Man. But for today, I want to discuss something that I reported back in March that actually came to pass about what will happen once David Zaslav takes over, and the update on Henry Cavill's feature Superman. And the report came from a DC source that was very accurate as to what actually happened. And the reason as to why I want to go over this is because the same source that informed me about how David Zaslav's plan was to completely clean house and to use two people from Marvel to become the new versions of Kevin Feige to run DC Studios. I thought, okay, I don't know about this one. And it was somewhat accurate because those people who, were basically coming from Marvel to DC were Alan Horn and, who's now the consultant of Warner Brothers Discovery, and James Gunn, and actually came from Marvel Studios. And like I said, this is old news. Maybe it was an accurate report. And like I said, I was sick. I couldn't really report on that. And, that David probably did consider those two at first, but it ended up being Peter Safran teaming up with James Gunn. Either way, I was confused, but at the same time, I thought, of only one person that came from Marvel and is now currently in DC, who was James Gunn. And I said to myself, I'm not buying that. I don't believe that James Gunn is going to be, running DC. I don't know. But it happened. It became accurate. And the problem is that, number one, like I said before, I was sick and I couldn't do a video on it. And, by the time they made the announcements, it was way too late. And the whole point here is that this same source that has provided me with information on what actually is going on actually has an update on Zack Snyder and the continuation of the Snyderverse that, once again, I will only discuss with my fan supporters at the end of this video. So if you really want to know as to what's going on, join the fan support. And I say possibly, because I know that my sources from Sony are very accurate about information on the past Spider-Man films. Although, a reminder, after the release of Spider-Man No Way Home, it was the last time that I'll be using those particular sources with their information for my future videos, because that was the deal that I made. So far, these sources from DC have been accurate, but I would just take everything with a grain of salt. But I do want you to listen to this. And it's from a video that was exclusive to my fan supporters only, but you can view the original video titled Happy 1 Year Anniversary to Zack Snyder's Justice League, Restore the Snyderverse. But this is the part that only my fan supporters had access to. So watch this. And I'm going to talk about as to what I heard the plans are for the Snyderverse for fan supporters only. So if you want to know, join the fan support. And please understand that my legit sources are from Sony for the Spider-Man films, but this is what I heard from another source that I trust as to what will happen once the Discovery merger is 100% finalized. Number one, from what I heard, is that David Zaslav is going to clean house. And the fact that Warner Brothers Media has screwed over directors, for example, Christopher Nolan, with the whole releasing his film to HBO Max at the same time as in theaters, really pissed him off to the point to where he parted ways with Warner Brothers. David wants to reach out to those who have been wronged by the morons in charge at Warner Brothers, who in a sense fucked up, and that also includes Zack Snyder. Hopefully it also includes Ray Fisher. I did not hear anything about that. I'm not sure as to what will happen with Walter Hamada, Toby Emmerich, or Ann Sornoff. You remember that bitch. But they're the ones who cause bad blood and bad business decisions. The thing is that in business, okay, customers
always come first. You don't badmouth them or tell them to fuck off. That's the worst thing you can do. I mean, if your idea is to just, we're not really going to do anything, just say, listen, we hear you guys, we're going to try to work something out. If it doesn't happen. You don't just go off and say, well, fuck you guys, you're going to get this movie and fuck off. You just don't do that. And David is all about wanting to make changes for the better, and cares more about working things out with those who are disrespected and wronged, as well as listening to the fan base, which is really good fucking news. I hope this is actually 100% legit, especially number 2. Thing is that The Rock, along with Danny Garcia, who is his wife, is also Henry Cavill's agent and has been pushing for his return as Superman and interaction with Black Adam. The person also told me they heard other rumors that they want a 6-picture deal, which would include, I think, Man of Steel 2, Black Adam 2, Justice League 2 and 3, obviously the Flash film, and, hopefully that happens, because that's what we need, is closure with the Justice League films.
As you can see, 2 things that I reported became very accurate. Number 1, David Zaslav did clean house, and he got rid of everyone who caused many issues, especially the anti-Snyder's employees. And, they were the first ones to go. And number 2, recently, you could actually look this one up, he has already met with Christopher Nolan and Steven Spielberg to make amends for what happened under the old regime, because they were fucking livid at Warner Brothers. And the list also includes director Zack Snyder, and we all know that David is very aware of the Snyderverse fan base and the powerful impact that they have made in donating more than $500,000 for suicide prevention. And there's no way in hell that David's going to let that one go, or even attempt to piss them off, because, the global Snyderverse fans, it's they made an impact, and it's good for business, compared to the minority of, and I say minority, of anti-Snyder fans who wouldn't even loan a fucking nickel for a Marvel Studios film and are in no way in the same level as being as compassionate. And, the proof was, I don't know if you guys remember when a Black Adam trailer was released. And, those fans noticed that they used footage from, the Joss Whedon film of Steppenwolf. And they were fucking livid. I mean, it was fucking pandemonium all over social media. And David Zaslav and The Rock noticed this frustration, and they panicked so fast. They ended up taking the trailer down and changing, everything. Well, not everything, just that one particular scene in the trailer, faster than speeding bullet, because they panicked. They don't want to piss off the fan base. So that tells you a lot right there. And it also goes to show that those of you who are assuming that David Zaslav is just going to put an end to the Snyderverse, honestly, at this point, I don't really see that happening, because I could see how this could come out like in a negative aspect, and that's the last thing that they want to do. David is doing exactly as to what's best for business. And if they really wanted to move forward with racing the Snyderverse, which is exactly as to what the old regime wanted and was planning to do. And, like I said, David loved The Flash, but made tons of changes to make sure that it wouldn't, which explains the long reshoots and also more of Ben Affleck for The Flash, and now Aquaman 2. And Ben Affleck is also rumored to have 3 more solo Batman films, and we all know that Henry Cavill is back as Superman. So that points to more evidence that the Snyderverse is not dying out, it's actually continuing. And people assume that the Snyderverse is dead because Henry made comments that he wants to finally play a joyful Superman. Meanwhile, there's a video, that Zack Snyder sent to Henry, and making a reference to how he can't wait to work with him again in the future. Yet, for the anti-Snyderverse morons, they're claiming that just because Henry wants to play joyful Superman, that he's given a middle finger to Zack Snyder because his version was darker. I don't know how these fans come up with this bullshit, but they're fucking delusional. And look, if it wasn't for David Zaslav, okay, let me be straight with you guys, Supergirl and Batgirl, along with Wonder Woman, would have been a new trinity, and rebooting the DCEU. And now it's the DCU, and making it fucking woke. Look, he canceled the Batgirl film because this is exactly as to what I was told. Number 1, this is an obvious one. The costume looked fucking horrible. There was no secondary costume that made it look better or anything. That was the costume that you saw. And number 2 was highly fucking woke. And that's just, you go woke, you go broke. That's the truth. And number 3, the rumor is that Michael Keaton's version of Batman is going to get killed off to ensure that Batgirl is the only version of Batman in that universe, which really would have pissed off the fucking fan base, and it would have made things worse. Because already, if you're starting to notice, that's exactly what Marvel is doing. You know, look at every new character. It's like the opposite of the original characters that are now all female. You know, and people are starting to bitch about it. Me, I don't give a rat's ass. I've given up on Marvel ever since Avengers Endgame. It's gone down fucking hell, for the exception of, you know, Spider-Man No Way Home. That's the only film that I really did love. And, you know, also the main fact that it didn't feel like a theatrical film and more like a 2-hour CW film. And some of the acting was pretty bad, I heard. Which is crazy because you have Michael Keaton in there and you have Brendan Fraser, and I don't know about the girl who plays Batgirl. I've never seen her work or anything like that, but I just heard that it was just a really, really bad film, and they're not going to put in any money to a woke fucking film that's just going to piss off the fan base even more. Like, they're trying to do better than Marvel, or in a way just do better in general, because, like, lately DC has been on the fucking, you know, it's not been doing that great. Especially with Black Adam, that, you know, that was just pretty much part of the old regime, Black Adam. I'm not sure what happened there. I actually liked the film. A lot of people hated it, and it didn't exactly, you know, make as much money as it should have at the box office. But at the same time, it's like they're really trying to up the ante, and it's a perfect time to, because Marvel Studios is making a big mistake. They're just pretty much giving the reins to anybody that's new, has no fucking experience, and writers who, admittingly, have admitted that they don't give two fucking shits about the source material. They're just doing their own thing. That's fucking stupid, you know? And, you know, like I said, I'm gonna reveal pretty much to my fan supporters as to what my source from DC told me, you know, about what's really going on with Zack Snyder and the future of the Justice League sequels. As of recent, Zack stated that he has not heard from anyone at DC, yet Jason Momoa also recently. He hyped up something big when asked by an interviewer. Now listen to this. If Justice League 2 is happening, and if The Rock will face the Justice League this time, and his response was that one of his dream projects is finally happening under the new regime, and people are assuming that he wasn't referring to the Justice League, and that he's actually referring to him playing Lobo. So, here we go.
Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot.
Woo!